Hello students, I am Piyush Arora and today we are going to discuss about the nested loops iterations in Java. So students, nested for loop is a loop which is inside a loop. That is, a loop within a loop is called a nested loop, where one or more loops are within a main loop. Now here we have a program class nested loop. For your illustration, you can see we have explained how the nested loops are performed. This nested loop actually is used for printing multiple tables of 5 up to 5 terms each. That is 1 into 1 is equal to 1, 1 into 2 is equal to 2, up till 1 into 5 is equal to 5. Then 2 into 1 is equal to 2, 2 into 2 is equal to 4, 2 into 3 is equal to 6, up till 2 into 5 is equal to 10. Then 3 into 1 is equal to 3, 3 into 2 is equal to 6, 3 into 3 is equal to 9. Like this it will go on up till 5 into 5 is equal to 25. So 5 tables of each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be printed 5 up to 5 terms. So this is a program class nested loop void multiple tables int I, j, p. Now here I and j have been taken for loops. I here stands for the main loop and j here stands for the nested loop, because you see a for loop of j is within I. So this is a nested loop here. So this is the block from here to here. This is a nested loop, and from here for I up till here, that is the end of the outer main loop, which is written here as a remark. This is the main loop. So main loop is this and nested loop is this. So we start I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. So I starts from 1 to 5. Then inside I we have another loop, j is equal to 1, j less than equal to 5, j plus plus, which also is from 1 to 5. So j will perform 5 times for each value of I. So remember this, for each value of I, j has to perform 5 times. That means total number of 25 times the loop will perform if taken together. So here inside the nested loop of j we have a expression p is equal to I into j. Now what is this? This is actually to multiply 1 with 1 of j. So value of I is initially 1 and value of j is also 1. So 1 into 1 is 1, that is p. So we are printing system out print line I into j is equal to p. So 1 into 1 is equal to 1. It will print the first term of the first table. Then p is equal to I into j. Now the value of j will vary from 1 to 5, and unless and until this loop is over, the next value of I will not be taken. So for every value of I, j will perform 5 times. So next value will be taken as 2 of I, then j will again become 1. So 2 into 1 is equal to 2, 2 into 2 is equal to 4, 2 into 3 is equal to 6. Then again I will become 3. When I will become 3, again j will start from 1. So 3 into 1 is equal to 3, 3 into 2 is equal to 6, 3 into 3 is equal to 9. This will continue for 5 times and the loop will be over after all the values of I are finished. That is from 1 to 5. So this is how the loop will go on. The working is explained here. You will see the working here. The value of I, the value of j and the value of p. That is, the value of I is 1, then the value of j is also 1, value of p will become 1. Then the value of I remains 1 only, j will become 2. So 1 into 2 is 2. I will remain 1, j will become 3. I, that is 1 into 3 is equal to 3. 1 into 4 is equal to 4, 1 into 5 is equal to 5. This will perform for 5 times and the number 1, that is table of 1, will be printed. Then table of 2 starts here again. I will become 2. Again j will become 1. So 2 into 1 is equal to 2. 2 into 2 is equal to 4. 2 into 3 is equal to 6. 2 into 4 is equal to 8. This will go on. And then 3. I will become 3. Again j will become 1. So for every value of I, j will perform from 1 to 5. So here we will see that 3 into 1 is equal to 3. 3 into 2 is equal to 6. Like this, 3 into 5 is equal to 15. It will go on for 4. Table of 4 also will perform like this. And finally, table of 5 at the end will be printing 5 into 5 is equal to 25. This is the end of the loop. So this will come to an end. This is how the program will go all about. We will check this program. Now, here we have the program nested loop. This is a pre-written program for you. You will see the program. This is the program. Multiple tables I, j, p. I is equal to 1. I less than equal to 5. I plus plus. So this is the main loop and the nested loop is here. We will just compile this program. After compilation, we close this. We make the object. Object is created. Now this is the object. We run the program. We see here all the tables are printed. 1 into 1 is equal to 1, 1 into 2 is equal to 2, 1 into 3 is equal to 3, 1 into 4 is equal to 4, 1 into 5 is equal to 5. Then the table of 2, then the table of 3, then the table of 4, then the table of 5. In all these tables, we have a gap of one line. Where this line is coming from? Because here we have a program. We are printing system out print line. This is a dummy printing line. This is to give a gap in between one table and another table. So here outer loop, in the outer loop we have a system out print line, and inside the nested loop we have a printing statement for tables, but outside it, that is the main loop, we have the statement for printing the gap or a blank line in between two tables. So this is how we are getting the answer. So I hope you have understood this program. We'll go to the next program. We can print patterns also with the use of nested loops. Again we have I and j, I1 to 5, j1 to 5, printing I plus and the space. Now here we have used system out print. System out print is used to print the numbers adjacently, one after another in the same line, to keep them in the same line. So this will print the pattern here, output 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5. And to change the line, we have a system out print line, that is a print statement to bring the cursor down to the next line. So after the line is printed, then the cursor comes to the next line. So here the value of I is 1, j is 1. So it will print only once, because we are having a loop of j from 1 to I. 1 to I means the loop of I, if it is 1, j will perform once. If it is 2, j will perform twice. If it is 3, j will perform thrice. If it is 4, j will perform 4 times, and the value of I is 5, then j will perform 5 times. So j will perform depending upon the value of I. As the value of I increases, the internal repetitions of j also increase. So therefore we get this sort of an output: 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. So this is how we get the pattern printed on the screen by this type of a program. Now we go to the next pattern. Next pattern is, we have changed slightly. The loop is same, 1 to 5, and j is 1 to I only. But here instead of printing I, we are printing j. Now you see the value of j is changing from 1 to 5. From starting it is 1, then it is 1, 2, then it is 1, 2, 3, then it is 1, 2, 3, 4, then it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these sort of numbers, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all will be printed in this form. This is the output for the second pattern by this nested loop. Now again the same thing is being used here. System out print j plus space. This will give a gap in between two numbers, and the numbers will remain in the same line. When we want to come to the next line, in the main loop we have a system out print line, which will bring the cursor down to the next line to change the line. So this is a program for printing the output like this on the screen. Then we have a pattern number 3. We have a I loop in the reverse order, 5 to 1, I minus minus. So reverse order, the loop starts in the reverse order, but j is in the normal order, in the ascending order. I is in the descending order, j is in the ascending order. This will do what? This will bring the output in this form: 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. This is how the output will go on, and with this program you will get this output. So, and in the pattern number 4 we have made slight changes. Instead of I, we have j in the descending order and I in the ascending order. J in the descending order and I in the ascending order, and we print j. So again we will get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4 and 5. This is how we go about for the fourth pattern. So with these 4 type of programs, I hope you have understood the analogy of the nested loops. Now we come to the while loop. The same programs of patterns have been done in the while loops also, only with a little change of using while instead of for loop. We have nested while here. So there we had for, here we have nested loop while. I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 5, j is equal to 1, j less than equal to I, j plus plus, system out print I plus here. This I plus plus stands for the outer loop, and this j plus plus stands for the inner loop. So this is the nested while, and this is the main while outside. However, the output will remain same. When you run this program on the computer, the same output you will get, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay, this output you will get. Again, the program with a little bit change, instead of printing I, we are printing J over here. So when we print J, we get this output 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how the program will go on with nested while. Pattern number 3 is also same with while, little bit of change. I here is in the reverse order. So I starts from 5 and go up till 1. This is in reverse order. And J is in the ascending order, that is from 1 to I. So this output you will get 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. And little bit change in here. Pattern 4 using while. I is in the ascending order, starts from 1, while J is in the descending order, and we print J. So with this sort of output you will get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4 and 5. So these 4 patterns of nested for and nested while will make you understand better, and you will have better idea of nested loops. Now with the loops we can do some sort of calculations also, like we can print the digits of a number separately. So here is a program to print the digits of the number separately. In this program we have class number digits, void print digits int n. N is used for inputting a number of your choice. Int d for finding out digits separately from the number. Here we print system out print line, your number is n. System out print line digits are, initially we print this message and later on the answer will come. While n not equal to 0, here we are using while because we do not know how long the number is. So any number of numbers can be given, that is any number can be given of digits, and those digits will be taken out. D is equal to n percent n, system out print line space d, n is equal to n by 10. Now this sort of a formula or a mechanism works for finding out the digits separately. What we are doing here is, you can understand the working from the right side. The initial value is 146. So when we say d is equal to n percent 10, this finds out the remainder of 146 dividing by 10. The first number 6 is taken out from the right side, because if you divide 146 by 10 and find the remainder, you will get 6 as the remainder. So 6 is the first number, so we print that number and 6 is printed. Now n is equal to n by 10 means 146 divided by 10, the quotient again becomes n. So it will become 14, and 14 divided by 10, the remainder is 4. So 4 will be printed. 14 is divided by 10. So 14 is divided by 10, what happens? It will give you the quotient 1. This is 1. 1 divided by 10, remainder is 1 only. So 1 will be printed. This is how 6, 4, 1 are printed. So this is how the digits are separated from the number and they are printed in the reverse order. That is, the last digit is printed first, then first digit is printed last. This is how the numbers are printed. Now we go to the next program, class reverse number. We want to print the number in the reverse order. Any number you give, computer should print it in the reverse order. So we have a mechanism over here, the variable rev m is equal to n. So what we do here is we transfer the value of n to m, because you see in this program the value of n till it is not 0, because at the last stage the value of n will become 0 because the quotient will become 0. So initially the n was 146, but now n will become 0. So when n becomes 0, we do not have a number, original number with us. Store the original number, we transfer that number in m. Now again we have same mechanism, that is while n not equal to 0, till the value n is not 0, this loop will continue. D is equal to n percent 10, REV is equal to REV into 10 plus D. Now this formula actually reverses the number given in the program. Any number you give, this particular formula will reverse the number. N is equal to n by 10, so this remains same. Now here working is given, 146 is the number, find the remainder by dividing by 10, you get 6. Now initially the value of REV is 0, so REV is equal to REV into 10 plus D means 10 into 0 plus 6. 10 into 0 plus 6 means 6. Now 146 divided by 10, quotient is 14. 14% 10 is 4. So the number was 6, REV was 6. 6 into 10 is how much? 60 plus 4 becomes 64. Now 14 divided by 10, the quotient is 1. 1% 10, the remainder is 1. Now here 64 already REV was already 64. So 64 into 10, it becomes 640 plus 1, 641. By this formula you see 146 has been converted to 641 as the reverse of the number. So this is here your original number entered was M, that is 146, and reverse of its digit is REV, that is 641. So by this we can see the answer is correctly generated. Now again we have another program to print the sum of digits of a number entered by the user using while. Now here sum of the digits. We enter a number n, int m, s is equal to 0, r, m is equal to n. Again we transfer the original value to m so that we require the original number, we can print it. N is not equal to 0 till the value of n is not 0. This loop will perform. R is n% 10, s is equal to s plus r, n is equal to n by 10. Now here working is given. 146 is the number. Again we find the remainder, we get 6. 0 plus 6 becomes 6. Again we divide the number for 146 by 10, we get quotient as 14. The quotient 14 is taken and divided by 10. The remainder is found. Remainder is 4. 6 plus 4 becomes 10. Then quotient again 14 is divided by 10, which will give you 1. So 1 is again added to 10, which will become 11. So finally the sum of 146 is 11, which will be stored in S, and we are printing. The original number entered was M and the sum of digits is S. So 146, the sum is 11. This will print 11. Now we want to find the lucky number. This is a program to find the lucky number. Now lucky number is a number which is a single digit number from 1 to 9. Suppose we enter 987. Then the lucky number would be 9 plus 8 plus 7, that is 24. But 24 is a double digit number. Now we add 2 and 4 also. So 2 and 4 becomes 6. So this is a lucky number. So here we have a lucky number program where we are using nested while within a do while. Within a do while we have a while, because lucky number we do not know how long the number will go on till the single digit is found. So this is a mechanism, this is a method by which we can find a lucky number of any given number. So we have a working over here. We have a do while outside and inside we have a while. So outside do while is used for performing in the repetitive form of the number. Now here we have a number 146. 146, the remainder is taken, you get 6. So 0 plus 6, s becomes 6. Then 146 divided by 10 gives you 14 as the quotient. And quotient of 14 is divided by 10, finding the remainder will give you 4. So 6 plus 4 becomes 10. Then 14 divided by 10 quotient is 1. 1 divided by 10 getting the remainder will leave you 1 only. 1 added to 10 will give you 11. So first phase of the totaling is over. That is 146 is added, all 1, 4 and 6. The digits are added and will give you 11. So S will become 11. Now what we do here is in the program that we transfer the value of S to N again. Now N was 146, but now it will become 11 because 11 is a double digit number. So this loop, this do while loop will perform till the value of N remains greater than 9. Greater than 9 means remains in the double digit, not in the single digit. Since N is in the double digit, so it will perform. S will become again 0. So here we have shown the working that N will become 11 and S will become again 0. Now again the process will continue with the same routine, that 11 will be divided by 10 and remainder will be taken 1. 1 will be added to 0, it will become 1. Then again 1 is the quotient. Remainder of 1 is 1 only, but dividing by 10, which will be added to previous one of S, it will become 2. And now when you see the value of S becomes 2 and the value of N becomes also 2 because the value of S is transferred to N, and N is not greater to 9 because N is 2 now. This do while will also come to an end. When the do while will come to an end, then the output will be printed. Your original number entered was 146 and your lucky number is 2. This is the output you will get. Now we will use a do while in the menu driven program which we had done earlier in the previous session of my video. That program was only once. That main menu program which you see here was performed only once, and again we had to run the program. But if we use do while and we write the whole program, or we contain the whole program inside the do while loop, we will see that this particular program performs as many times as you want. Only when you press 6, then only you can exit, otherwise it will keep on continuing and asking you the options from the menu. This is a better program as compared to the previous one where only the program could run once only. So here we will see we have contained the whole program into do while. Here we have put the do statement and the brackets, and at the end also we have put brackets and while ch not equal to 6, means till the choice is not equal to 6, this loop will perform and keep on asking you the choices. You can continue with the choices and make your decisions and calculations of the mathematical functions. So we will all see these programs now one by one in BlueJ. First of all, pattern 1, we will see that pattern 1 is printed. See the program. This is a program for pattern number 1. We will see whether the pattern is being printed or not. We will compile, make the object and run this program. See, the output is generated. First pattern is printed as per the programs explained you earlier. Now we go into the second pattern. This is the second pattern program with a little bit of change. 1 to I. Instead of 1 to 5, it is 1 to I. Compile this program. Close. Make the object. Print the pattern. So here the pattern is printed in a different form, exactly the way it was explained in the chapter. Third pattern, we'll remove this. Third pattern, this is the program for third pattern. We are printing I, and I is in the reverse order, J is in the ascending order. Okay, so we'll compile this program. We'll make the object. So pattern is printed in the reverse order. First 5s are printed, 5 5s are printed, 4 4s are printed, 3 3s are printed, 2 2s are printed, and 1 is printed only once. This is how it is going on. Then we will remove this. We have pattern number 4. Here J is in the reverse order, I is in the ascending order. We will go on, make the object. We will run this program now. Print pattern. So 5 4 3 2 1, 5 4 3 2, 5 4 3, 5 4 and 5. Perfectly well. All the patterns have been printed in perfect manner. Remove this. Now we come to the number of digits. To print the digits of a number separately. This is the program. This program will be compiled and we will see that the numbers are printed separately. We will make the object of this program. We will enter the value. We will enter a number. We will say 146. We will take the same example as explained you, 146. Okay. As soon as we enter, we see your number is 146. Digits are 6, 4 and 1. This is how the output is generated. Perfectly well. Okay. Now we remove this. We go on to reverse numbers. This is the program printing the reverse number. So we compile this program. No syntax error. We make the object. We run this. Again it will ask you the number. We gave 146 only. We'll take the same example and it will print you the numbers in the reverse order. Your original number entered was 146. Reverse of its digits is 641. Perfectly well. Close this. Remove it. Then we will go to the sum of the digits. So we will see the program first. This is the sum of the digits. Compile this program. Close it. Make the object. Run the function. Print sum. Fill the value. Say 146. Okay. So your original number entered was 146. Sum of its digits are 11. So this is the correct answer as per the explanation. Again, suppose we run it, we give some other number 786. Okay. So it will say original number was 786 and 7 plus 8 plus 6 is how much? 21. So sum of it is 21. So again running perfectly. We'll remove this now. Now lucky number. We will try out the lucky number program. We'll see the lucky number. This is the lucky number program. This is the program written for you. You compile the program, close it, make the object, run the function. Lucky number, it will find out 146. Suppose we give. Okay. So your original number entered was 146. Lucky number is 2. Suppose you want to see another lucky number. Lucky number. You give 76543. Okay. 76543. 76543 is 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 25. And 25, 2 plus 5 is 7. So correctly, it's printed correctly. So this is how all the programs have been tested. Now the last program, menu driven switch case, we will test it again, where we will show you the actual working of the menu driven program in the practical manner. This is the program. This is a program. We have put do while in this program. Earlier do while was not there. We have put do while. So we will compile this program. Now we will run this program. Make the object. Here you see the main menu. Calculate the exponent. We give 1. We give the value 4. We give the value 3 for exponent. We get the result. Raised to power of 3 is 64. That is 4 raised to power of 3 is 64. 4 into 4 into 4 is 64. Again you will get a main menu. Here you see again you will get a main menu. Because it is continuing on do while. So do while is doing this. It is giving you a loop to perform again and again. You don't have to run the program again and again. The same program is being run because of do while again and again till you press 6. So again you say 2 and press enter. Integer value say 45. The square root of 45 is 6.708. To calculate the cube root you give 3 again. Enter a value say 123. So cube root of 3 is 123 is 4.9 something. Then round off say 4. 67.88. Rounding off is done. 67.88, 68. Then 5 generate the random numbers. So generated random number 0. Then again you press 5. Again another random number. I think the random number is 64. Again you say random number. Now it is 6. Again you say random number. Now it is something like 57. This will keep on continuing like this. And if you press 6, then it will stop. Say okay, bye. So this is how it goes on. Suppose we run it again. We make the object again. And we give some number like 8. It will say wrong choice and it will continue. It will not stop. It will ask you till you enter 6, it will continue. So as soon as you press 6, it will stop. This is a complete program to illustrate the use of do while, and all the options of for loop, while loop, nested loop have been explained. I hope you have understood the concepts well. Thank you, and we will meet in the next session. Have a nice day.